Welcome back to Movies Hub Recap. Today we're diving into the high-altitude thriller that's got everyone talking, Flight Risk, a 2025 American action thriller film directed by Mel Gibson and starring Mark Wahlberg, Michelle Dockery, and Topher Grace. So grab your popcorn, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's break down everything you need to know about Flight Risk. Let's get started. Our story begins in the remote, snow-covered wilderness of Alaska, where we find Winston, or as everyone calls him, Will, a nervous banker turned informant, hiding out in a shabby hotel room. He's cooking dinner, trying to maintain some sense of normalcy, when he hears something outside. Checking through the window, he spots a reindeer. Now, you'd think that would be charming, right? Wrong. Will is absolutely furious at this poor animal. Probably because when you're running from a mob, every unexpected visitor feels like a threat. But suddenly, bang, the door bursts open. Federal officers storm in, weapons drawn, and before Will can even process what's happening, he's face down on the floor with handcuffs clicking around his wrists. And here's where things get interesting. Will immediately declares, "I'm ready to fully assist the police." Talk about a quick change of heart. Enter Deputy U.S. Marshal Madolyn Harris. She goes by Denny, a tough officer with a past that haunts her. She's there to arrest Winston, an accountant who's been handling the books for the notorious Moretti crime family, and she needs him to testify back in New York City. Will's response? "I'll only do it if I get full protection and security." Smart move, considering he knows exactly what the Morettis do to snitches. Denny discusses the situation with her team, and they make a decision that will seal all their fates. They need to get Will back to New York as quickly and quietly as possible. No commercial flights, too risky. No driving, too slow. They arrange for a small charter plane to fly them to Anchorage, where they'll catch a connection to New York. The next morning, Denny and Will arrive at a tiny airfield. The plane? Well, let's just say it's seen better days, probably several decades ago. Will takes one look at this rickety aircraft and immediately starts complaining. This thing looks like it's held together with duct tape and prayers. But Denny, ever the professional, shuts him down. "We had to arrange this to get back quickly. You should have thought about comfort before you decided to steal from mobsters and hide in Alaska." Then enters our pilot. Daryl Booth introduces himself as a friendly Texan living in Alaska, complete with a southern drawl and an easygoing attitude. He notices Will looking nervous and Denny's concealed weapon, asking casually about their situation. But Denny keeps it vague, just another transport job, nothing special. As they board the plane, Daryl mentions something that should have been a massive red flag. The plane's radio and GPS are regularly out of order. But hey, he's flown this route 100 times, what could go wrong, right? Famous last words. The plane takes off, shaking and rattling like a washing machine with a brick in it. Denny's knuckles are white from gripping the armrest. Will looks like he's about to lose his breakfast. Daryl hands them headphones so they can communicate over the engine noise, all while maintaining that unsettling cheerfulness. Then, a bird strikes the windshield, leaving a splatter of blood across the glass. Denny jumps, Will nearly has a heart attack. But Daryl? He just laughs it off. Happens all the time up here. Circle of life and all that. This is where our story takes its first dark turn. Will, sitting in the back, spots something that makes his blood run cold. Daryl's pilot ID badge has fallen loose, and the photo, it's completely different from the man flying their plane. The real pilot had hair, was older, looked nothing like this guy. Will tries desperately to warn Denny, but she can't hear him over the engine noise and through the headphones. In a moment of desperation, he throws a button at her. When she turns around, annoyed, Will tries to signal her with his eyes, but Daryl's watching him in the mirror with this creepy smile. So Will chickens out, making up an excuse about feeling airsick. But Denny's no fool. She notices something Daryl didn't count on: blood on his sleeve. Fresh blood, not from the bird. She starts testing him with questions about their route, their contact officer. She mentions they're working with an officer, Paul. Daryl, still playing along, says, "Oh yeah, Paul. Great guy. He paid me really well for this job." Denny's eyes narrow. That's interesting because there's no Officer Paul. The mask drops instantly. Daryl's friendly demeanor vanishes, replaced by something predatory. Well, looks like you finally caught on. The fight that follows is absolutely brutal. In a confined space of the tiny cockpit, Denny and Daryl exchange blows. Daryl lands a devastating punch that knocks Denny unconscious, then turns to Will with this absolutely chilling line. "You shouldn't have betrayed the Morettis, Will. They don't forgive, and they definitely don't forget." Will, desperate, tries to bargain. "I'll give you $1 million. Cash. Just let us go." Daryl laughs, and it's not a pleasant sound. "Where would a pencil pusher like you get that kind of money?" "I've been skimming for the Morettis for years," Will confesses. "Small amounts they'd never notice. It's all yours." "Tempting," Daryl admits. "But even if I took your money, I'd still have to kill the marshal. Can't leave witnesses." Just when all seems lost, Denny suddenly springs back to consciousness. She was playing possum. She jams a taser into Daryl's neck, sending thousands of volts through his body. He convulses, foam at his mouth, and collapses. But here's the problem. Nobody's flying the plane. They're in a nosedive toward the Alaskan mountains. Denny scrambles into the pilot's seat, pulling back on the yoke with all her strength. The plane levels out just meters from a mountainside, so close they can see individual trees. Put on autopilot. Will screams. They tie up the unconscious Daryl, or whatever his real name is, and search him. What they find is terrifying. Photos of both of them, detailed information about their families, arrest records for multiple murders, and worst of all, Will's mother's home address. "How does he know where my mother lives?" Will panics. "I never told anyone. They tried the radio, static. GPS dead." But Denny remembers she has a satellite phone. She calls her partner back at headquarters. "We've got a situation. The pilot's a hitman sent by the Morettis. We've subdued him, but neither of us knows how to fly." Here's where the conspiracy deepens. While Denny's on the phone getting flight instructions from an Air Force captain, Daryl wakes up, tied up and bloodied. He starts laughing. "Will, you want to know something funny about your friend Denny here?" he taunts. 3 years ago, she was supposed to protect a witness, a young woman who was going to testify against the Morettis. "Want to know what happened?" Denny's face goes white, and she says, "Shut up." But Daryl continued and said, "The girl burned alive in a hotel room. And guess who was supposed to be protecting her?" This revelation rocks Will's trust in Denny, but she explains through tears, "It wasn't my fault. The Morettis had inside information. Someone leaked our location." And that's when the pieces start falling into place. Daryl knows too much details about their mission that only someone on the inside could have provided. Denny's partner mentions they found the real pilot's body. Eyes gouged out, ears and nose cut off. Classic mob signature. Denny realizes there's a mole in their department. At first, she suspects her partner, but then will mention something crucial. "I used to transfer money to someone in Hawaii. Weekly payments from the Morettis to some official. Denny's boss, Jack, just happens to vacation in Hawaii regularly." The truth hits like a sledgehammer. Jack, the very person coordinating their protection, is on the Moretti payroll. With this revelation, everything spirals into chaos. Daryl, who's been secretly cutting his ropes with a hidden blade, breaks free. He stabs Will in the side with a concealed knife and grabs Denny's gun. "Who's going to save you now?" he snarls. But Will, despite his injury, manages to grab the knife and stab Daryl in the leg. Denny shoots him with a flare gun, setting his jacket on fire. In the confined space of the plane, it's absolute pandemonium. They manage to subdue Daryl again, this time with proper handcuffs, but Will is badly hurt, bleeding profusely. Denny tries desperately to stop the bleeding while still flying the plane. "Please," Will gasps, "save my mom. Promise me. You're going to be fine," Denny assures him, though she's not sure she believes it herself. "We're both getting out of this." The captain on a radio guides them toward an emergency landing strip, but warns them, this is going to be dangerous. That plane isn't meant for that kind of landing. Jack calls Denny directly, still playing innocent. "Denny, you were right about your partner being the mole. We tried to arrest her, but she died in a car accident." "Cut the act, Jack." Denny explodes. "I know about Hawaii. I know about the payments. You killed her to cover your tracks." Jack's voice turns cold. "You have no proof. and you won't live long enough to find any. The runway appears through the clouds, a thin strip of concrete in the middle of nowhere. Daryl, despite being handcuffed and injured, makes one last desperate attempt. He breaks free using a technique that would make even Houdini jealous. When he is free, he attacks Denny while she's trying to land. The plane lurches wildly. They're coming in too fast, too steep. Denny shoots Daryl again. This time it's serious. He slumps against the door, barely conscious. "We're all going to die," he laughs through bloody teeth. The Morettis always win. But Denny's not giving up. Following the captain's instructions, she fights the controls, lowering the landing gear. The runway rushes up to meet them. Bang! They hit hard. The landing gear snaps off. Sparks fly as the plane's belly scrapes along the concrete. The door tears off from the impact, and Daryl, in a moment of poetic justice, gets sucked out. But that's not even the best part, folks. As the plane finally skids to a stop, an ambulance racing toward them doesn't see Daryl's body on the runway, and crunch. Let's just say he won't be bothering anyone ever again. Emergency crews swarm the plane. Will is unconscious, being loaded onto a stretcher. Denny thinks they're finally safe, but she notices something wrong. One of the paramedics, moving toward Will's ambulance, doesn't look right. His uniform is off. His movements are too purposeful. She races after the ambulance, rips open the doors, and finds the fake paramedic about to suffocate Will with plastic. Denny, without hesitation, she puts 2 bullets in him. Another Moretti assassin down. The real paramedics take over, and Will's eyes flutter open. He's terrified but alive. Denny stays with him, holding his hand. Then her phone rings. It's Jack calling the assassin's phone. "Is it done? Is Will dead?" "Not quite, Jack," Denny responds. "Your assassin's dead. Will's alive, and you're finished. I'm coming for you." She hangs up on his sputtering threats. The other officers, having heard everything, are already moving to arrest Jack and uncover the full extent of the Moretti mole network.